Welcome everybody to Beat the Shift Baseball. This is episode 108 for Tuesday, May 18th. And we got a good one for you today. We are going to be finding a new home for the Oakland A's, and we're going to be getting into character to do so. We'll also be talking about some incredible pitching records that were broken this past week. And we have a pretty shocking development on the Albert Pujols news that we talked about at length last week. So we got all that to come. I'm Alex Zui, and I'm here today with the whole crew. Farbod Markazi, Alex Roude, Ray Estrada. I almost mixed up your guys' last names somehow. I don't know how, but we got through it. How are you guys doing? It's because you're all in front of me, and it's really intimidating. I'm not used to staring you all in the face. You should.
I'm glad to know that we all intimidate you, Uwe.
Farbod Estrada is very intimidating.
It was. Can you hear it? It was that close. Some nightmare fuel.
Hey, last week I was really confused what was going on when we had the cameras up, but you didn't upload the video version of our podcast. And I was trying to make a point about Albert Pujols, and then Uwe just gave me the weirdest look I've ever seen, and it completely distracted me. So we're all getting used to having some podcasts with a face cam on right now.
Yeah, that one is a weird one. If you were listening and did not see the occurrence, you had to be there.
I mean, they couldn't see because we didn't post it.
You couldn't. This one's going live no matter what. Okay, we're going for it. I am recording, right? Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
like a challenge.
Rudy, don't get any ideas. Also,
The
Rudy,
infamous word
I have
rally F it. We'll do
I
it
have
live.
lots of ideas.
Rudy. By the way, nice haircut, dude. Nice haircut. Of course, we all noticed right away.
Totally.
Rudy,
No discussions.
I'm just kind of curious though, since we're getting a good look at it here. I think other people might be curious too. What do you do with all of that when you have to look presentable? You got a job interview or something? Like what's happening?
Look presentable now?
What's the game plan?
Yeah, am I not presentable for this podcast?
Oh no! For this, you're fine. No, totally. I mean, just.
I'll just.
Yeah.
I just work my
I
magic.
mean, the question is, do you flex with a Michigan hoodie when you do interviews?
It depends on the context, but I do have a cut-off sleeve Michigan hoodie, especially for the best interviews. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think we should probably talk about baseball by now. We wanna ease people into it, and
You're saying this isn't
show off
relevant information, Uwe?
we gotta bring up the glaring things people looking at us for the first time. Oh no, he's frozen. Stay with us. Oh no, now you get a real good look at him though.
Oh, in the position too.
Oh my god.
Talk about baseball.
Yeah, we don't need Rudy for that, right? He's good. All right.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's good. How about we start with the follow-up to what we were talking about last week, and that would be the end of the Angels Albert Pujols era. And less than a week later, we see the beginning of a new era, probably a very short era, but the Dodgers Albert Pujols era. And it's a thing. I said last week that I don't know if he will play a Major League Baseball game again, and here we are, a week from last time we recorded.
I did not think that would happen, and I mean I said it last week too. I did not think he would find himself on a Major League roster in season again.
And not just a Major League roster. We're talking about the consensus best team in baseball, probably. Injuries aside, which, we will get into all of that as well. But this is the freaking Dodgers, man. He traded up here. He's not going to some other team that can, spare the playing time just to, bring some positive attention. Like, he's going to, the team in the league. And we'll see if he actually does enough to make a playoff roster. That would be kind of cool, because they're going there. The Angels, you didn't know, but the Dodgers, I think everybody knows.
think we knew the Angels weren't going there.
It's early, man. It's early, and they don't have Albert Pujols to deal with
Don't break
anymore.
my heart.
So, their chances can only go up
But
from there.
with low expectations, you can't break your heart.
Yeah, it's been broken long ago.
I mean, they only have like 3, MVP level players. I mean, come on, they need a lot more help. Let's be honest.
Yeah, for real. Well, the thing is though that they really did need help, Ray, and their injured list is a pretty prodigious one right now. If you look at some of the hitters that are on there, and some of them are pretty fresh, some of them are a little bit older, but
Including, or I say, one of the MVPs is gone in Bellinger. Also, the World Series MVP in Seager is gone. You have McKinstry, who was a revelation this year, gone. Pollock, who came up, blew up last year with power numbers and sustained it this year, gone. Taylor's day to day at this point. I mean, it's insane to see the injuries that they've had this year, and to have the losing streak that they did. The fact that they started 13-2, they're only a game and a half or something out of first place is really remarkable. So yeah, it's nice to see the Dodgers. I like the addition of Albert Pujols because at the end of the day, if he's bad, they just cut him. So it's
I mean,
fun.
technically, by that logic, they should just add one of us too. We're bad.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that's-
I'm down. I'm down.
volunteer.
You're-
Dodgers sign me. I can donate my rotator cuff for like 3 pitches.
I was hoping
I-
you'd play in the Olympics. So I was actually pretty upset. to see
Yeah.
it.
No, well, yeah, the Olympic qualifiers, that'd be fun. I that's weird. You can't be on a 40-man to go. I think that's a separate rant. But it's fun. Everybody looks better in Dodger blue, in my opinion. I think it's fun. He already has a hit in RBI with the Dodgers. Started tonight. Dodgers are undefeated in the Albert Pujols era. 55 looks good in a Dodger uniform. So, yeah, hopefully it works out. And just comment on how the Angels maybe look a little bit worse after tonight. He said that his thing with the Angels was never about playing time. So
Yeah,
Never won.
Yeah, that was
somebody
weird.
somebody was
Right.
lying because that was
kind of who the Angels was. He said those words never left my mouth. So that's just
who do we
he's
think-
willing to do whatever. Yeah, he's willing to do whatever. I think I'm excited.
So what do we think really happened then? What's the most?
Are we
likely-
theorizing now?
Yes,
They
theorize.
cut him.
Oh yeah, no, we got a conspiracy. Put the tinfoil hats on.
But Farbod, you forget we talked about it last week. Is like, why wait till now to just straight up cut him? Because he's been worth negative value for years now, and if the Angels were serious about their window of contention, and not so concerned with giving him the proper send off, then why not? Like, it still doesn't quite line up. More questions, if anything, now from the whole
I don't
exchange.
know. I've just been trying to put together some random reasons why, and I mean, some of these might have some validity. Some of them might be completely out of left field. New GM, superstar player in Trout, and Pujols was his mentor. I don't know if like his first like blockbuster, not blockbuster, but like headline grabbing move would be to cut Trouty's mentor. I don't know if that would be good for like the relationship between the GM and Trout. I like that. That was the first thing that popped in my head after we podcasted last week. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm just glad to see him playing baseball, and I am low key predicting that he's just gonna go off for the Dodgers because maybe it was the Angels' curse or whatever, or I don't know, or maybe he can only win in the National League. Who knows? But we'll figure it out sooner than later. I think going off of Pujols a little bit, Ray asked me a really important question before we started podcasting: was what hurt the Angel fan base more, the Dodgers signing Pujols or the Dodgers stealing our beat writer, Fabian Ardaya? And I am honestly split on that, but I would say Fabian Ardaya was one of my favorite follows on Twitter, and now he's a Dodgers beat writer instead of the Angels. So that hurts me a lot right now. And so just to see him talking about the Dodgers, I don't know. He's a good follow. Follow him.
Yeah, that's the real headline today. Buried the lead for sure. yeah, I don't
I
know.
think to touch back on the rule stuff with like how talk about the new GM with Trout. Trout seemed to be blindsided by this Pujols release, which makes it all the more strange. The fact that Pujols definitely didn't want to be on a losing team with that amount of playing time, but for it to be that sudden, like you said, to just straight up cut him at this point in the last year of his contract. Like if it happened last year, I know we didn't have a full season last year, but last year or 2 years ago, it's like okay, yeah, because he's been not good, but to do it in what was a pseudo retirement tour in a way is just it was really bizarre. And then if he shows up for the Dodgers even a little bit in the limited role that he's willing to take, that looks all the much worse on the Angels.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of said it earlier, but the Dodgers can't be the bad guys for being the second team to cut him in a season. They're not gonna. Nobody's gonna care about that. It's all in the
I guess
Angels.
I'm the one person here who thinks Pujols is lying, and everyone's just trying to give him, not make him look bad in the media like Madden and Trout because they respect him. I mean, I think, as we pointed out, they wouldn't cut him now just because they were finally realized he was bad.
This is the Angels we're talking about. Remember
Yeah.
that, Rudy.
But nothing lines up because why would he have said that, but then immediately, right away,
He's prideful.
in his actions and in everything else, say, well, he was very openly willing to go to another team to take a bench hitter, more clubhouse leadery type of role, which is what he was doing with the Angels anyway. So nothing adds up. Something is
I don't know if
off.
it was a playing time issue. It could have been a different issue. It could have been the team success. For
It could have
example,
been.
could have been.
No, I think it was a team success issue, but the Angels made it sound like it was a playing time issue.
Right. I think that's good.
It's a lot of
Exactly.
optics. A lot of optics.
Yeah.
Well,
Baseball.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't see it coming, and I still don't really know all the reasons why. But I'm curious. I'm curious to you listeners out there. Anybody know what's going on? Did you see this coming? Did you think he was going to the Cardinals or nowhere too? Like, I don't know. Let us know at Beat the Shift BP, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of those places. There's the social media plug. Pretty close to the start of the podcast, right? I kind of forgot to do that in the intro. How about we do it
Yes,
now?
I noticed.
You did notice.
Good.
Okay. Nobody else did. So we're good.
Real slick.
real smooth. Like, let's get into our main segment today. I talked about it earlier. We're gonna be finding a new home for the A's, and we are gonna do it with a little bit of role play. I don't know how in depth role play we're getting here. Yeah, I see the eyebrows moving on Rudy, and I'm regretting my word choice already. But here's how it's gonna go. Me, myself, I will be playing the part of Mr. John Fisher, the A's owner, for anybody who didn't know that, because I definitely did before this podcast. And the rest of these guys will be making their pitch representing a few different cities to court the A's owner into bringing the team there. So if you guys want to just go around and introduce what city you're going to be making your pitches for to see if you can wrangle in a new major league team. We'll start with Ray, and then I'll go Rudy, and then Farbod, just for the sake of clockwiseness. I don't know. Whatever you came to play with here. If you went all in with a fake persona and have a backstory and children and two pet dogs that you want to talk about, like whatever you got to bring it.
I don't have that, but I do have a pitch for the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
A's.
Give the elevator pitch too. We'll go city by city. Each introduce the overview.
So representing the city of Las Vegas, Mr. John Fisher, Oakland A's. The city of Vegas is one of the hottest new sports towns in the U.S. The Vegas Golden Knights, expansion NHL team, made the Stanley Cup their first year. Awesome fan base, amazing support, and your former I guess roommates. I don't know how to call that. Stadium mates, the Oakland Raiders. They couldn't get along with the city of Oakland. Like you guys can't seem to do that right now. So they came here. They have a fantastic new stadium, and it's amazing right across from the Strip, and a great support fan base here. You have you're close enough to your old support, and Vegas has space. There's plenty of room for a stadium to build, great amenities. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of eyes on you in the city of Las Vegas. It is, up and coming. It's just amazing. Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world right now, it seems. You have to bring the third of four major sports in to Las Vegas. It would be amazing, and the Oakland A's, and they can make a ton of sense for that move, especially with especially with the Raiders having such a successful move.
You've piqued my interest. All right, Rudy.
I go.
Well, I want to go just for the sake of clockwiseness here in the rotation.
Clockwise in your little screen.
In my little
I don't have
in my
that
little
on mine.
universe. This is
I don't have that on mine.
I confused my brain so much when you said
trust
that.
me.
I don't. Because my screen is not indicative of that pattern in any way.
What I see is going out to the people. So trust me on that one, okay? Just nod yes and go with it. Let us know where are we taking the A's? Why should we move?
Me?
Yeah, you.
All right. I'm going to keep the A's in Oakland and add 2 expansion teams in Nashville and the Raleigh metropolitan area.
Wait, that's not what? That's not allowed. What are you doing?
Allowed. There was no rules. No rules were set or parameters.
Well, why are you telling me about this then?
That's
go talk to Manfred.
Expansion's just as likely in my opinion.
So am I John
proposal.
Fisher and Rob Manfred now simultaneously?
John Fisher, by the way, is the heir to the Gap fortune, so I'm surprised none of you know that, since it's such a stylish brand that we all rep every day of our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that because he is me.
Yeah.
Let me get into my pitch at least to convince you.
All right.
So, Raleigh is the second fastest growing metropolitan area in the United States over the past decade, and Nashville is right in that top 10 as well. They are extremely attractive Nielsen DMA ranking areas, much higher than Las Vegas and higher than other MLB cities, including Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and actually Raleigh's even also above Pittsburgh, San Diego, and Baltimore. We got a lot of people. We got a lot of money opportunities with those people. They both already have grassroots expansion organizations set up in place. I don't know, you guys might remember Dave Dombrowski was part of the Nashville group. They both have downtown stadium plans in place. And I think these are markets that are both bigger than Las Vegas, closer to Portland, or next option, perhaps, in size, pretty similar, faster growing, great business moving there, and most importantly, great stadium options that don't involve either having to wear plaid or whatever they were in Oregon and not having to sit in the sun in Las Vegas during the summer. And so both these cities just got,
based on the sun sucks.
Let me finish. And then all shots can be fired. Nashville just got an MLS team. Charlotte and North Carolina just got an MLS team. I think Raleigh is primed with no major sports teams and being one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country. And finally, I have my realignment plan in place to seal in my pitch. So I've already done all the research. Hear me out. The AL West will now be the Mariners.
This is a heck of an elevator pitch, dude.
And the Rockies. The NL West will now be the Dodgers, Giants, Padres, and Diamondbacks. The AL East will be the same except for the Rays. The NL East will be the Mets, Phillies, Nationals, and Pirates. The AL South, will be the Royals, Rangers, Astros, and this Nashville team. The NL South will be the Marlins, Braves, Raleigh, and I got one wrong. I had the Stros in 2 places, so we'll see what that means.
Rudy, I hope you know that
AL
none
North.
of us are gonna remember this, right? You're
Let me just finish. Let me just finish. Everyone gets their time. AL North will be the White Sox, the Indians, which I hope will be named a new name by the time this happens. Perhaps the Spiders or one of those other names we came up with in the
Rocker
past
Carnations.
episode. Thank you.
Mhm.
Tigers and Twins. And the NL North will be the Reds, Cubs, Cards, and who am I forgetting? The Brewers, yes. So yeah, I don't know what NL South team I forgot in there, but I'm sure I'll think of it at some point. There you go. Drum roll.
My head hurts. Did you just say drum roll at the end of that long?
Yes. Oh yeah, the Rays. The Rays are going to be in the
Pretty.
AL South.
Okay.
In the NL South, we'll have the Astros. Thank you.
You're welcome. Farbod,
Alrighty.
let's see if you can adhere more closely to the exercise at hand. Maybe you want to go ahead and give your
Alright.
your pitch for.
Drum roll. I used it in the right context here. So, I am Farbod Markazi. I don't work for them, but I am representing the Portland Diamond Project. So, Rudy, you said Nashville has their own thing. We have our own thing too. So, for those of you that don't know, baseball has been a thing in Portland and deeply rooted in the city for the last 150 years, from the Portland Baseball Club in 1866, the Rosebuds, then the Portland Mavericks, the Portland Beavers that left and came back about 4 different times and left again in 2010. It's deeply rooted, but they just don't have a professional baseball team. In 2017, the Portland Diamond Project came about and is working to bring back professional baseball to Portland. And what's it called? Infrastructure wise, Rudy, like I said, you guys, Nashville, the Nashville group's doing a great job setting up stuff like this. But we have renderings of a 32,000 seat waterfront park ready on the grounds of old Vaughn Street Park. That will provide 8,000 units of housing and jobs for the Portland community. A walkable, beautiful park, perfect for tourism of our city, and all that good stuff. I'd be happy to share those renderings with you, Mr. Fisher, as soon as you ask. Portland is also the largest metropolitan area, number 22 in the U.S., and with more people than Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City without a Major League Baseball team. Geographically, it's a logical fit. Other than the Mariners, the A's are the closest team to Portland and would simply move up the coast to adopt a new home. And fan-wise, our city has unconditional love for the Portland Trailblazers. They've created a cult-like following for the Portland Timbers, the MLS club, called the Timbers Army. If you're worried about losing the diehard weird Oakland fans, remember that one of the biggest mottos, one of the biggest slogans Portland has is "Keep Portland Weird." We're unique, diverse, loyal, passionate for all of our pro teams, and will support the Portland Athletics year in, year out. Couple fun facts to finish off. We are the number one best beer city in the country, with 70 breweries that call the city home. So biggest volume of beer out there. We're the number 3 best coffee city in the country. Portland, Sin City, Vegas, step aside. Portland has more strip clubs per capita in the U.S. than any other city. Portland is a top 15 city for millennials and Gen Z. If you want to stay green, as your colors are in Oakland, we're also a top 10 in greenest cities in the U.S. Portland's recent tech boom has given the city the nickname the Silicon Forest. Powell's Bookstore, if you've ever heard of it, is the largest independently owned bookstore in the world, and that's right in Portland. And someone else also fills up your gas, so they can fill up your players' gas if they're driving around Portland or anywhere almost everywhere in Oregon for you, so they don't even have to get out of their car. And so we have public spaces, housing, entertainment, tourism, beer, coffee, strip clubs, books, and a diehard fan base. So Portland is here for the A's and ready to begin negotiations.
Yeah, it's nice to know, but how are the public schools?
I just wanted to point out that he called the fan base in Oakland weird.
No, it resolved nicely. I was like, do you really just? It's like, okay, he had a. Okay, you know what? First of all, can I just. That is the guy right there who not only did his homework, but freaking knocked it out of the park and got extra credit, if you ask me. Holy cow.
I
And
demand a recount.
All I'm saying is two of the arguments that I heard, one from about Vegas and everything. We have more strip clubs per capita, and
Hey,
and how Raleigh is a big
that's just more.
metropolitan
That's
area.
more opportunities
Portland
for you
is
guys
the
to promote.
largest metropolitan area without a Major League Baseball team.
But who is keeping Oakland in Oakland while also adding teams? Me. So I'm making everyone happy. I think I should.
Not all of us are as much of a visionary as you. We're just trying to add a team to Portland.
Also,
Fair enough.
Rudy, I'd hate to point out that you neglected the two hockey
no.
teams in Raleigh and Nashville.
There we go.
Yeah, but they play a different part of the season. I didn't say they were only professional. Oh, you're right. I said Raleigh had nobody.
You brought up MLS teams in Charlotte and Nashville. You failed to bring up the fact that they actually have two NHL franchises there.
Well, Charlotte's a different city. I meant that just to show that.
But Raleigh has a professional sports franchise.
It doesn't play the same time of the year though, so I don't think it's an issue.
I just realized I might have not been specific enough. This is Portland, Oregon, not
Isn't
Portland, Maine.
Thank you. There's an NHL team in Las Vegas too. So if we're saying
That,
NHL team,
I did not
be
fail to mention them.
No, you guys,
Okay.
you guys mentioned a lot, and a lot more than I thought, even in an elevator pitch type of introduction. So I
These
I
are
will
tall
go ahead.
buildings we're in.
These are really tall buildings. So I will keep it simple and just ask you a couple questions total, because you covered a lot so far. So to each of you, I will ask, how do you envision the baseball experience in your city, from where the location of the stadium is, what kind of, not just ballpark atmosphere, but stadium atmosphere and surrounding area do you want to go for with a new construction project to bring a new team in? What's the vibe? Is the general question.
Are you gonna call on someone or?
Let's start with Ray again. I was kind of just hoping the same order would go about.
So, gambling is hot right now in sports.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, sports gambling is it's legal nationwide now in terms of like state by state basis. Gambling is huge, especially in Las Vegas. But so now, major, the MLB itself, including the NFL, NHL, NBA, they all have deals with sportsbooks, many including MGM, which is right here in Las Vegas. So you can integrate that, especially here in Vegas. You already have a baseball stadium, the Las Vegas. I actually don't know what they're called. The Las Vegas 51s, previous Las Vegas 51s.
Aviators, right?
Aviators. The Aces are the WNBA team. Las Vegas Aviators. So you have a predetermined stadium. We could expand that. There's plenty of other space around the Strip or around the Vegas area you can create. But basically, you were taking, gambling is hot right now in sports, and you have a very hot market in terms of an expanding sports market in Las Vegas, and you can combine that in a baseball game, which is a sport that is prime for live gambling. With, you can call it the slow pace of play, but there's a lot of dead time to fill with gambling odds, prop bets, and everything. So it's a very entertainment based in stadium experience with all that, and just really play into that market, because Vegas, it's a great local fan base, but also you're gonna have a lot of travelers, a lot of tourists just in Vegas in general. So you're gonna have a lot of people just coming to check out a baseball game who might not be rooting for either team. They just might be there. So integrate the experience for anybody who might be there, while also having a great local fan base who is involved in multiple teams and not just having to develop one for one team.
I like that answer. That's a very creative answer, and I can definitely see a roadmap there to a lot more avenues to making money too. All right, Rudy, it seems like you're dedicated to keeping my team in Oakland, which I would love, but
Yes.
it doesn't seem like you have many ideas about that. So if I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that you're trying to sell me on a couple of these expansion teams, go and tell me what the what the stadium experience that you're going for
Yes.
is in one of these new towns. Like, how do you envision a
Yes.
night out at a Nashville or Raleigh baseball game?
Yes. Or both, perhaps. You might
In the
even be
same night,
lucky
that
to.
might be tough, but
So
whatever
Raleigh
you
is the
want.
number one, richest metro area in the continental U.S. without an MLB team within 100 miles. Um, so it's a very educated area. It's in the Research Triangle, which is where Duke University, UNC, etc., top institutes of the world are located. So, you know, this is a vibe of, highly educated, uh, high income people. And so what they want is I would probably replicate something similar to perhaps, what the Padres do in the Gaslight District. We have kind of a hottie toddy metropolitan, got your craft beers. Sorry, Farbod, we can have craft beers too. And you have a
Number
that
one.
that rustic
That's
posh
subjective.
artisanal food experience in Raleigh for, the college students are going to enjoy that as they drive into town. Their parents are going to enjoy it. The professors are going to enjoy it. And, all the startup businesses in the area are going to enjoy it. And so, what better place to make your sales pitch for your dream entrepreneurial college project than at, a Raleigh baseball game. So just moving from there, Nashville, it's going to be a great time. So if that's more your thing, Nashville, first of all, before we even get to the great time, this is a city rooted in Negro Leagues baseball. So there's a great history and love for the game, just like Raleigh has the Durham Bulls right next to it. So both these places are real baseball areas of the country. But we also have, a leadership team in Nashville that, has Justin Timberlake, Darius Rucker, Luke Combs, every country music star after that you could ever desire wants to be a part of this franchise. So you're gonna get a great musical performance at every single game, and I think that's a great deal. Plus, Nashville is the number one bachelorette city of America, so they know how to party.
I like it. That's using the
I would say once again, fails to mention the thing that is actually in Raleigh, which is NC State as part of that North Carolina triangle.
Go Wolfpack.
Hey, you know what? I've got the picture. You're using the prime features of these, the first things that come to mind in selling me on this. I'm liking it. I can see it, especially a Nashville stadium bumping with country music and barbecue going on the whole
They
day.
still play the Oakland A's. Don't forget that part.
It still confuses me greatly.
And they can wear Gap. If they have to want to wear Gap clothing while they do it, that works
Yes,
too.
go shop at
No judgment.
the Gap, or the Baby Gap if you have kids, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty decent pitch
Seem
though.
to have Yeezy line, so it's for all the cool kids.
I'm definitely on board with those places as good prospects, but I have a feeling that Farbod has. I'm scared. Am I gonna get like a 12-page report on?
I don't
He's
have
gonna
this
send
one.
a PowerPoint to you right now.
Yeah, where those? You said you had renderings. You got those ready, right? We'll throw those up for everybody. Yeah.
Well, do I have to do it while
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I thought you were kidding. I thought you were kidding. Okay. No, but yeah, tell me what the Portland baseball experience from start to finish would kind of look like up there.
Well, I know I mentioned it before, but this is really important to the fans, to the people of Portland. It's a connected community, and this area that they want to bring this ballpark back has had baseball ties for the last century and beyond. There's also a little carousel right next door. It's called the Jansen Beach Carousel that actually was manufactured in 1921 and was put at Venice Beach, moved to Oregon in 1928, and taken down in 2008. And this part of the Portland Diamond Project's renderings also offer this gigantic carousel to be revitalized, reborn, right outside of the stadium. And for people who don't give a crap about carousels. This is important to the city of Portland. This is important to this area, and the people that reside there. Other than that, the fans are the number one thing, and Portland actually offers a pretty unique and not necessarily used before type of stadium. We have obviously all stadiums have multi-use and multi-use like functionality. You can have concerts, you can have like just events, whatever you want there. Portland has a whole our renderings right now give us a event space right outside of the stadium, right inside the stadium. The center field area is just a whole party section essentially, with tables, chairs, drinks, people walking around. It's very walkable, bikeable. We're on the waterfront. And like I said, Portland fans are diehard fans. And if you know anything about the Timbers and their fan base, if you know anything about the Trailblazers and how loyal these fan bases have been through the ups and the downs, Portland fans will be out there supporting the Portland Athletics through thick and thin. And I mean, we are on the waterfront. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful area to be. And I had something else, but I forgot it.
I think that's pretty good. You gave a lot of it in the first bit that you discussed too. Who doesn't love the waterfront stadium, right? And if in my head to make this more concise and condensed down, Vegas, you got the potential for integrated gambling or sports books in real time at the stadium. Love that. Rudy's ideas. You got some bougie approach to baseball there, and maybe some good old Nashville country vibes.
So it's the Gaslamp Quarter, not the Gaslight Quarter.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're not gaslighting people down in San Diego, but the Gaslamp district is pretty nice. I can't understand that. And in Portland they got a big carousel and a nice stadium to boot, but the carousel, that's gonna be tough to beat. So do I have to make a decision now? Is that what's going on here? Am I deciding right now where I need to move my team?
Or
Do
not.
I have any time to think, or do you
want.
need this response now?
We need this response.
Well, Rudy doesn't need it. Rudy doesn't want to move my team, but
I still need a response though.
got a lot of interesting
are you
parties.
discussing with Rudy? Are you going to discuss with the Rays after this if they don't respond to you?
He's got another meeting to get to.
No, I'm keeping the Rays. I'm adding two teams.
Oh yeah,
I forgot.
You can still add those two new teams and have the Rays still split time between Montreal and Tampa Bay.
I welcome the chaos that would produce.
Oh my gosh.
Rudy, you have Justin Timberlake. We have Russell Wilson and his wife as chief investors in the Portland Diamond Project and getting this project going. And Darwin Barney.
Darwin Barney?
Is that Cubs legend Darwin Barney?
Yeah, Darwin Barney.
Oh, no way.
Dodgers legend Darwin Barney?
Oh, it's the same guy.
We had Tony La Russa. I don't know if he's still part of the advisory board. Yeah, Trump's
all right. Before we get into the
Hall of Famer, brother.
you guys are trying to make your last second sells on
MLB expert on extra innings rules, Tony La Russa.
On where to go here. I'm trying to
Are you stalling? I mean, we could talk
about No, please don't. Okay. You know what? What might help me is if you tweet it at us or let us know on Instagram. No, no. Is this not a reasonable way to stall? Where would you move? Where do you want the A's to end up? At Beat the Shift BP. Do you want him to stay in Oakland? I think a lot of people do, but at this point, it looks pretty darn likely that Oakland's not willing to play ball with the real life proposals. That's why we're making up our own and trying to expedite the process here. If it were up to me, I say move him to Portland. They are a starved city, like Farbod said, with a lot of very hardcore sports fandom. the proximity to the current team, I think, is reasonable enough to where you can retain a lot of Oakland fans, even the ones that might be disappointed that they can't enjoy a day out to the Coliseum. But I think just in general, like, it would be a great atmosphere for baseball. And it's not to say Vegas wouldn't be, and the Raiders did it already, but I think it matches a little bit more with the current A's makeup. Like you said, they're loud, they're rowdy, they're kind of cheap and scrappy, maybe not by design, but maybe that's not the way they want to be, but it kind of matches the aesthetic a little bit more with the A's. So there you have it. I decided, but obviously it means nothing. Who knows what's actually going to happen?
Rudy had actually said to move the A's to Nashville or Raleigh. Instead of
what if I said yes to Rudy and I was like, yes, both. I'll take them both.
I mean, Raleigh's definitely more starved as a sports city than Portland. It has only one professional sports team instead of two.
That's true. It'd be a long move, though. I know you had your fancy proposal with the new division alignments and all that, but I think minus points for Rudy too for not sticking to the prompt. You tried to get creative and kind of tripped over his feet there, if you ask me. But hey, you guys did a pretty good job. Y'all did a pretty good job. Farbod might have edged it out, but you guys had some very compelling cases, and I see a world with baseball teams in all these places.
I might have had the advantage of having been to my city frequently beforehand.
And designing this game with Uwe, so it sounds like collusion.
I didn't know about the carousel though before.
That sealed the deal with the carousel.
Yeah.
I want to shout out the Portland Diamond Project for actually doing all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Farbod's proposal is a real one, by the way, in case anybody didn't get that. He didn't come up with all of that himself. That's a real thing.
In 2003, Portland was in the running for the relocation of the Expos, and the city actually, Oregon passed legislation that granted the city a $150 million bond to go through with the project, but they ended up choosing to move to DC.
Sounds really cheap for a stadium, if I'm being honest.
It's a long time ago.
I don't know.
It was a long time ago.
We give Farbod the victory for just plagiarizing. That's the lesson.
I'm still a college student. What do you think?
Yes.
Rudy, your proposal hurt my brain, and
That's not mine.
Ray's was pretty good too, but again,
some people just don't, understand true art. So
I can't contend with Farbod's beer thing because Vegas beer sucks, but I don't call Portland number one.
In quantity. He didn't say anything about
volume of beer.
You can have all the volume you want. If it's not good beer, it's not good beer.
This is a totally different podcast that this should be brought up.
Let's do our other podcast.
No, please. We still have a lot of baseball that we were meaning to talk about today, so why don't we get to a little bit of that? We should move on to.
I still demand a recount.
No. All right. So which record here that I'm about to say both is, I mean, they're both pretty equally ridiculous, but which one is more? I don't know. Which one of these just catches your eye way more? I don't know if that's just me, but Corbin Burns with the Brewers. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what he's been doing. Went to start the season on a 58 strikeout to 0 walk run. So that's 58 before walking his first batter, which he did in his last start, unfortunately. It was another great start. It was his only walk of the outing. And he's been lights out the entire season. And that's by far a record among any pitcher, relievers included. I believe the pitcher he passed was Kenley Jansen with 52. And then the next most by a starter was Adam Wainwright with 35. So just shattered that. To start a season. And I believe it was also the record for strikeouts, consecutive strikeouts without walking a batter ever. Like not just to start a season. Just for any stretch of time.
That previously was a starter in Kurt Schilling.
Yes. But Garrett Cole just broke it days later. It was today, in fact. And he went 61 strikeouts, not to start the year, but 61 strikeouts since his last walk. And he also walked a batter, so that streak's over. Both these streaks have come to a close, so 58 and 61, respectively. Cole has the record for most strikeouts without walking batter, but that is insanely hard to do. Both of them really, really eye-catching. Like, I don't know how anybody's going to be doing that again. It's amazing that they kind of did it in conjunction with each other. But, I need to ask, because these are two very different names. One of them is Garrett Cole, who's been, one of the best starters in baseball, and pretty definitively the best starter not named Jacob deGrom in the last few years. And the other one is Corbin Burns, who 2 years ago struggled so much as a starter that he was teetering between there and the bullpen. And then all of a sudden last year comes out and starts firing bullets, and you're like, okay, this is some interesting stuff. And he only got better from last year to this year. So I guess I'll ask each of you, like, which one of these records is more impressive, just taking into account everything, like obviously 3 more strikeouts is going to be 3 strikeouts more impressive, but just considering their backgrounds, like the context of how all of this went down, like, I don't know, which one catches your eye more? Ray?
I think to start a season is really incredible because you come in fresh, come in new, and to not allow a walk in the first month and a half of the season, especially as a starter, is incredible. And you mentioned the previous record by a starter of Wainwright with 35. That's crazy because anybody can have a torrid stretch. It just happens that Cole happened to be from almost right after opening day to now. But for Corbin Burns, we all knew he was getting. He snuck in at 99 on our absolutely definitive top 100 list.
He did because he did technically make stuff. He did technically make
So he's good, and we were just worried that he had some legitimate blowups in the past couple seasons. But that's the stuff plays, and to start to, because when you get a walk out of the way, just in any start or even. But to start a season and not allow a free pass at all until middle of May is absolutely incredible. Just the mental, I guess, fortitude to not think about that and just keep plugging along, and that's something that you definitely think about. It's like, well, I haven't walked anybody, especially when you see all the headlines about the records and everything. It's like, oh, I haven't walked anybody this year at all after having not pitched actual games since September.
Yeah, it's crazy the kind of pressure that you have that's added on when you're like, you got this streak going. It's I know these guys are just going out there doing their thing, but it's like every at bat is nerve wracking when something like that's happening. You're like, any 3-ball count, you're like on the edge of your seat, and it adds a lot. Farbod, real quick, what between these two, like, does one stand out as more impressive or more noteworthy to you?
Oh, pitching is art. This is just beautiful pitching. I love it, and I don't care.
You're here for all of it.
Yeah, I think Ray is correct that it's really crazy just seeing, like, to start the year, and anyone can get on a hot streak in the middle of the year or whatever, but to start the year, that's pretty crazy. And also to think about how you could have a bad umpire. You could have an umpire that's not calling, like, the outside pitch as consistently, or the inside pitch, and all of a sudden you have a couple pitches that you think are strikes that you could easily throw a 4-pitch walk that's pretty like competitive, close to strike pitches, that it's not necessarily your command that's letting you down. It's just, damn, they were just maybe a baseball off, or maybe it was a bad call by the ump. To not walk someone for that long, that's crazy. They need to both teach Shohei Ohtani a thing or two. But yeah, I think I love pitching. Like I said, it's art, and I'm here for both of it.
Yeah, and I'll slightly reframe the question for you, Rudy. just a little bit. I don't know if I'm throwing you a curveball here, but I just wanted to add too, just the whole part with Corbin Burns and what he's been able to do is that yes, he was really really good last year and opened a lot of eyes, and this year he's doing it very differently in terms of his pitch mix. He started throwing a cutter more last year, contributed a lot to his success, and then this year said, you know what, this is my best pitch. This is my primary pitch. I'm going to throw it as my primary pitch. Has all but ditched the four seam fastball and reduced his sinker usage, which he used to throw as much as the cutter, to just 10%. His sinker he only throws 10% of the time now, and his cutter he uses 55% of the time. But it's unhittable. And he's pounding the zone with it. Clearly, he's not walking batters, and they still can't hit it, even though he's throwing it right in the zone. 36.7% whiff rate on that pitch and a 155 expected batting average. The actual batting average against is also under 200, but the expected batting average even better. So nobody's barreling it up. Nobody's actually making good contact against it. And that's his primary pitch. Imagine other elite pitchers who have that much success with the pitch they throw more than 50% of the time. You just don't see it. So just because of that, it doesn't even seem fluky that he did this. It's not just like, oh, he was just unconscious, like he had everything working. Like he made a conscious change to his arsenal, and this is the outcome. And now I'm wondering, like, okay, can anybody figure out how to hit this cutter, which is just pure filth, or is the magic gonna run out? I don't know if it is. Rudy, do you think the magic is here to stay with Corbin Burns?
I wasn't sure if that was going to end up actually leading to a question.
I wasn't either.
Uh,
I had to get that out there, and I need to know because like you and I have both played a good amount of fantasy baseball and have followed Corbin Burns, who's consistently been one of the most interesting pitchers out there and available, just because we knew the stuff was crazy good, but he was just so volatile.
yeah.
So, in your eyes, like, is this
Yes.
real? And I'll ask a little bit differently.
No, I
The
have
same question. Like, is he in that tier of like the DeGrom, Cole, Bieber type of dominance?
I mean, I don't think he's going to maintain this level of sheer dominance. Like, no one is that good, unless there's a reason to be suspicious about it. But over like the entire season. That said, I don't think it's out of the question that he's in that tier, though. Not to be nitpicky, though, to me, like DeGrom is still in his own tier, kind of, even amongst those three guys. I know that might be
Okay.
getting a little in the weeds, but
Yeah,
no,
sure.
Completely agree.
Okay.
I don't think it's egregious to say he could be in the Bieber Cole tier, but if he keeps this up for the rest of the season, within some more reasonable margin of error of where he's at. No, I think that's fair. He's that good so far. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're really gonna have to start because it is early. It is early, and it's really easy to be overly reactionary to everything, numbers
Can I
wise,
throw
that you see.
one stat out, just
Yeah,
really quick?
yeah. Let's hear it.
Because you had your stats.
Yeah, I had my fun.
He had an 8.8 ERA over 49 innings in 2019. So, that's just to say I don't think he's a 1.57 ERA pitcher, but I think nothing I've seen has told me that he can't be one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
If this is real.
If any of you guys are stats nerds or baseball nerds and want to look at more of like why is Corbin Burns so good, like go to his Baseball Savant page. If you don't know what Baseball Savant is, it has all the StatCast data and a lot of other really cool data and charts that they generate for pitchers and hitters. But you can see his heat maps and his pitch usage and even like the movement and the trails on the pitches that he's throwing. And simply put, like you bring up the 8.8 ERA, it was like that because he was throwing his four-seam fastball a lot and just throwing it right over the middle of the plate, and he stopped that completely. He stopped throwing his four-seamer altogether, and nobody can hit his cutter. And it might be that simple. It doesn't seem like an easy pitch to adjust to. But I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on him the rest of the season too. I had to bring that up. You know, he had the streak, of course, but he might just legitimately be there, and be there to stay. All right, let's keep going here. So Shohei Ohtani, we can't not talk about Shohei Ohtani. We've made mention of him, but he just retook the MLB home run lead on a pitch at his shoulders, by the way, against a lefty. Like, what the heck is that? But even if we look past that, the home run race has definitely heated up over the last week or so. Aaron Judge entering the mix. He hit 4 just over the weekend and was player of the week last week. He caught up in a hurry, which everybody knew he's capable of doing. But he tied it on Sunday at 12 before Ohtani, retook the lead. Mitch Haniger, too, with the Mariners coming back after a lot of missed time. And, that's always really good to see for a Mariners team that is not very good offensively. Mitch Haniger is a bright spot. So
last year's baseballs are back, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we definitely need to carve out time to talk about.
Based on the Machado home run I saw tonight, last year's baseballs are back.
We should definitely carve out some time to talk about that in more depth, especially beyond just the few widely visible examples, because there's so much more that happens that there's data on that can be looked at with how the home run rates are actually trending. But these are some players up here at the top of the home run leaderboards that you maybe didn't expect to see. Vlad Guerrero, of course, who we knew it would just be a matter of time. He's at 11. Acuna's up there. Like, some of them are familiar, but we're definitely getting some new guys up at the top, and that's always fun. So I just wanted to make mention of that. I don't know if there's very much to go into.
Do Aaron Judge's home runs actually count that much, though? Because they were the Orioles. That should be like half a home run for a Yankees player.
I feel like that's how the Yankees fans treat it too, is like, okay, you got to keep doing it against the other teams, though. And I'm sure Yankees fans would love to see him and Stanton do it at the same time at some point. Not right now because Stanton's injured, but maybe they're allowed to both homer in the same day one of these days. Like, I'll be okay with that. Yeah. So just some other news. The Padres this past week, headlined by Fernando Tatis going on the COVID injured list, had multiple players miss time with that. I don't think any of them were symptomatic, though, or like actually got COVID.
Tatis is the only one who was positive. Everybody else is contact tracing.
Yeah, so it was, guys that go on the IL aren't necessarily tested positive, and in this case, even Tatis wasn't symptomatic. So there's positive signs there, and same with the Yankees, who had a pretty sizable COVID positive test outbreak, I guess, not among non-player members of their organization. And Gleyber Torres, through contact tracing, went on the COVID IL too. But
Gleyber Torres is positive.
Oh, he was positive as well. Okay.
He's positive for, I think they said the second time in less than a year, and he's been vaccinated.
Yeah. But I guess there's positives and negatives where it's like, are we quite ready to push forward as aggressively as we are with the COVID stuff? But also we're seeing a lot of these cases from these positive cases from vaccinated individuals who are not showing the symptoms that are obviously really problematic and the reason for the massive pandemic. So positive takeaways and maybe some eyebrow raising and caution to be had. Did you guys have anything to add about that specifically? I don't have any straight up questions for any of you about that. It was just pretty newsworthy, and wanted to hear what you have to say about it.
That vaccines work in terms of like keeping symptoms down and keeping people out of the hospital.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just a good general sense, but I think it also shows, like, I mean, MLB has really just sort of kicked aside the pandemic this year with the vaccination protocols. I mean, it's still out there, and you still have guys. Basically, if you're vaccinated, you can do whatever the hell you want. But still testing positive affects your team. So
Mhm.
it's a very weird position that these guys are in of still having to be responsible. But MLB telling them, if you get this certain thing done, then you basically have free reign to do what you want. So it's
Mhm.
again, it's a very weird situation.
I do have something to add, but I'm not gonna do it on air. So just remind me after.
I might have missed this
Leave him hanging.
if you sent this, but all the Yankees who tested positive, from what I understood, were vaccinated to at least some
Yes.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like
and
the chances of
asymptomatic,
that.
right? Like that
Yeah,
correlation, right?
like the chance of that
Yeah.
happening or like
Me.
incredibly implausible. So, I did see someone tweet. I don't know how reputable this is, but that apparently the test they had is just so sensitive that they had an amount that was not had it was no symptoms and couldn't be transmissive, but did show
It
up
was
on
more exposure as opposed to
Hmm.
actually infected.
there. Okay, that's a yeah. I
Okay.
thought that was just a clarification that might make the story make more sense for the Yankees at least.
Probably. Yeah, it's definitely just one of those footnotes. Thankfully, nothing more headline worthy, for sure. All right, so we're getting real close to the end here. I'm gonna get to the weird stuff because I love to end the show with the weird stuff, and at any point with things that I'm talking about, just stop me, give your feedback. I'm not gonna like stop and ask you guys what you think about all this, but I know there's definitely some takes here. But first, before the weirdness, I just wanted to shout out to James Caprillion making his first major league start with the A's last week against the Red Sox on the road. But he has had a long road to get where he was. He is a hometown guy from where Farbod, Roude, and I grew up and went to high school. A little bit older than us, of course, but like we knew him, we knew the name, we followed him, through college and getting drafted. He got drafted in 2015. That's so long ago. That is so
UCLA,
ridiculously
so
long ago.
yeah, still a college kid as well. That's how
Yeah,
I knew Caprilli was a
I think
UCLA
you
fan.
threw a perfect game in high school as well.
I believe. Yeah, I remember. All of the buzz around him, and seeing it now. He was drafted by the Yankees. We followed him closely, but um, dealt with a lot of injuries. Couldn't put it together. Got traded to the A's in the Sonny Gray deal, actually way back, and he really he had more injuries that held him out for entire seasons, and really had to battle his way back, and finally made it back. Pitched out of the pen and debuted last year with the A's, and this year got his first start. Did pretty well. 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. Got the dub. But just a super emotional start for somebody coming up through that road, and also after in the post game, made mention of how he centers himself during the game. And he said he would look to the area between the dugout on the third base side and home plate where his mom would used to sit for all his games growing up, who he lost, way back even before he was drafted, unfortunately to breast cancer. And, he said that, he still looks there and that's how he centers himself. And like, how can you not like get emotional about that? His dad was there in Fenway going absolutely crazy at all the success. Like just an awesome story. Yeah, I don't know if you had anything else there that I missed, or if you watched it or experienced that at all, but man, that is like the coolest thing when you get those kinds of heartfelt moments. Just real stuff.
It's one thing to, and you mentioned it, it's one thing to be happy that a guy from like your hometown who you might have played against or seen like the varsity guys on your team play against when you were younger. But it's another thing having that, but also like following his journey and knowing all the ups and downs he went through to get to where he is,
Mm-hmm.
and both like in his personal life and in his baseball life. That this I can't not root for him. This was a really fun to see and really good really heartwarming too.
Yeah. Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it, James. All right. To the weird stuff. And we got some good ones this week. So, Huascar Yanoa. I don't know if I said that right. Did I? I think it was.
That was pretty good.
It's as close as I could get with.
I've never heard his name said, so I don't know.
You don't know until you try. He did the thing. He broke his hand because he was so mad that he punched a dugout. Well, he punched the bench, really. He punched, the wall or the bench of the dugout and straight up broke his hand. He's going to miss multiple months. But this is something that we've had in preparation.
Yeah.
The solution for some time now. Ray, do you want to remind everybody the very plainly obvious solution to this kind of rage management
plainly
issue?
Obvious solution. So we're saving both guys' health and water coolers. There is me and Dewey have we came up with a myriad of solutions, but I think the one we settled on is a designated section of drywall just inside the tunnel that you can punch through, because we thought about a punching bag, but there's no satisfaction in not doing damage to anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can actually do damage to something and punch through drywall, which is designated to be punched through, and it's safe, you're not gonna hit a beam, you're not gonna break your hand or anything, that will save guys arms from throwing gloves, separating the shoulders. Will save water coolers from bats and everything like that, and save Huascar his hand from a dugout bench. So if MLB had just gotten all their stuff together and had listened to me and Uwe, then one of the most exciting pitchers in baseball, mainly because he could just hits tanks, would still be playing at this point.
What if there's like 2 pitchers or 3 pitchers or a hitter on the team that already take it out earlier in the game? How fast are they supposed to put it back up?
If you have if it's gone by the beginning of a game or like early in the game, I think you have bigger issues with your team.
See, in my mind,
what about bubble wrap? That's satisfying.
No, what, like popping it?
Yeah, you just have a section in your bench to pop bubble wrap if you're stressing out.
I like that. Very tame.
It's very tame. In my head, I see it as like a significant portion of the dugout tunnel that's just straight up drywall, and you just don't replace it over the course of a season, and you just see the kind of damage that resides there after months of.
I feel like the players would just take that as fun though, like every win, like one guy,
no,
or like the guy who
the
winning pitcher,
only
like,
for
punches.
rage. It can only be for rage. Come on.
It could start out like that, but I still feel like if you do something like that, it would just turn into like a team. Yeah, it would be kind of abusive.
If it's every dugout though, I don't feel like it'd be a thing.
I think let them have their fun with it. If they want to get creative with how they use the drywall,
it's better than what has happened.
Yep, I think it's still a better solution. All right, that was a good refresher. That immediately seeing that we were all, both of us were like, if only they had listened. Here's a real weird one. I don't, in recent memory, know anybody else who's had a stretch like this, but Yasmani Grandal, notorious plate discipline fella right here, in the month of May has a 143 batting average, a 535 on base percentage, and a 429 slugging percentage. That's a 964 OPS, by the way. That's elite. And he almost had, to this point, he's had one single. He until the 16th of May had a 0 BABIP for the month, and all his on base was from walks. He has 20 walks this month, and that includes 2 0 for 0 with 4 walk performances. One of them happened today. The second one happened today. But he did it also earlier this month. He did it multiple times in the same streak, in the same stretch of games. And he has the 2 home runs in there, which account for, his other hits in that time. He's 3 for 21. That's why his batting average is so terrible. But man just walks all of the time. And
he's walking way more than he ever has in his career. He's always been a decent walker because
nobody walks this much in their career. Like
no, except Max Muncy.
Max Muncy you know, I don't know that has he walked 20 times in
He's walked more than
in
Grandal
40
this entire year, so
In less
Oh,
than
in the
20
year.
days.
Yeah. Yeah, in less than 20 days and in
Oh yeah,
what, like 45, like less than 45 plate appearances, has 20 walks. Like, come on, man. That's ridiculous. But hey, that's really weird. That's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I want to see if how long he can keep it up for. I want to see if he's pitchers make a conscious effort. They're like, I can't walk this guy. This guy's walking against everybody. Like, is there extra pressure to face the guy that just always? He's not even like the most dangerous hitter. He's like hitting in the 7 hole for the White Sox, and he's just drawing tons of walks. I don't get it. It's really weird. All right, and the last thing I'll mention is our good friend Zach Plesac, who is on the wrong side of 2 no-hitters this year already. Almost had his revenge no-no. He threw one through 7 innings against the Mariners too, right? The Mariners, man.
I almost predicted that.
You almost
Spot
did.
on
You know,
last
we did ask who the likely next candidate is. He's like, watch it just be Zach Plesac. You know, his next time out, he's just mad. He's gonna go do it himself. He almost did. He still has a chance
left for the year.
and he still has a chance to be the next one. So, you know, that's where we stand there. And that's gonna wrap it up for the weird stuff that I had to share, and that's gonna wrap it up for the podcast. It was a long one, but we had a lot of fun getting into character and really hammering home on some of these proposals. You know, if you like that kind of stuff, if you want us to do more of that, let us know. You know, we want to hear this feedback from you guys, especially if you're still listening to this point. Let us know at Beat the Shift BP, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And yeah, we'll take your feedback. Or if you just want to say hi, of course, that works too.
Thanks, Grant, for the segment idea.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Grant. And, you know, this is the first one on video, first of many, hopefully. We'll see how this goes. We'll make some tweaks as need be. This is just one of the many changes that we have on the horizon coming your way, so be on the lookout for all of that. What else we got? BeatTheShiftBaseball.com. Podcast, articles, anything that we do will be there. And yeah, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening if you want to hear more of this. And that'll do it for today. Thanks, everybody. One last time. As always, Farbod.
Yes.
You're still on camera, guys. Do something.
It's in tight.
I want you to play my own outro music and just like jam to that.